Vincent sat attentively watching as his young son energetically raced around their new apartment. The living room had been transformed into an imaginary metropolis, a sea of cardboard box buildings created by his son's vivid imagination. "Dad, there is so much room to play here!" Ryan exclaimed. "You like our new home?" Vincent asked, eyes twinkling. "I love it! Mom would like it too, right? She can see our new apartment, can't she?" Ryan asked, his innocent eyes glistening with curiosity. Feeling a surge of emotion, Vincent walked over to his son, kneeling down to his level. He looked into Ryan's eyes filled with love and nostalgia, then embraced him in a warm, tight hug. "Of course she can, Ryan. Of course, she does," he reassured. 2 years had passed since Vincent's wife and Ryan's mother had tragically passed away. Ryan was just 3 years old at that time, yet he had held on to memories of his mother despite his tender age. This was in no small part due to Vincent's diligent efforts to keep his wife's memory alive by placing their family photo in every room of the house. Ryan, often curious about his mother, would frequently ask Vincent to share stories about her. "Dad, did Mom love to read?" Ryan asked Vincent one day as they were reading a bedtime story. His question brought back a wave of warm memories of the times when Vincent and his wife would get lost in conversations about the books they were reading. A nostalgic smile crept onto Vincent's face. "Your mother was a real bookworm, Ryan. She loved to tell me stories from the books she was reading. I know she would have been thrilled to see you learning to read, even before you started school." Inspired by this, Ryan would pick up a book and tentatively touch the letters with his tiny fingers. Vincent used this approach to educate his son through questions and answers. It made him feel as if his wife Leah was still present in their lives, aiding and guiding their son's growth. "Dad, is Grandma going to live with us again?" Ryan suddenly asked. "Absolutely, buddy, but we need to unpack and organize everything first and set up a room for her. Then we can head to the station and pick her up." "Can we see the trains there?" Ryan's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Definitely." "Great! Traveling by car is so boring. I wish I could have gone with Grandma." Vincent chuckled heartily at his son's candidness. "I needed you here, buddy. Who else was going to help me move all these heavy boxes?" Ryan pondered for a moment before responding. "All right, Dad, I'll take the train next time." Vincent agreed, promising Ryan plenty of train rides in the future. "Ready to start unpacking?" Ryan nodded eagerly and immediately got to work. He lunged at the largest box, trying to pry it open. Despite his best efforts, the stubborn box refused to open, and he stumbled backward, landing on his backside. Vincent held his breath, anticipating a cascade of tears, but was relieved when Ryan simply giggled instead. Over the next 2 hours, the father-son duo worked diligently, emptying boxes and organizing their new home. Finally, a worn-out Ryan requested a small snack before promptly falling asleep, one leg hanging off the edge of the sofa. Vincent gently draped a blanket over his son and continued with the task at hand, careful not to make too much noise that might disturb Ryan's peaceful slumber. As he continued to unpack the remaining boxes, he stumbled upon his wife's collection of books. He gently opened a few, savoring the familiar scent of the pages, a silent testament to his wife's loving touch. As he neatly arranged the books on the shelf, a photograph slipped from the pages of one. It was a picture of Leah, his wife, but a version of her Vincent didn't recognize. She wore clothes that he didn't recall ever seeing her in, and her hair was cut in a surprisingly short style, something entirely new to him. He speculated that the photo might be from her youth, yet she appeared to be the same age as when they had their son. The mystery puzzled him. Safely tucking the photograph in his pocket, Vincent resumed his task, aligning the remaining books on the shelf. "Grandma, here's your room," Ryan chimed, his face beaming with pride as he showed Wendy her new quarters. Wendy surveyed the apartment, then turned to her son, her eyes tinged with melancholy. She heaved a deep sigh and murmured, "This is a lovely apartment, Vincent. I do hope we can finally settle here." Vincent, preoccupied with his thoughts, nodded in agreement without meeting her gaze. "I hope so too, Mom. That's what they assured us." An army officer by profession, Vincent's recent promotion had brought them to this town. The higher-ups, aware of his personal situation, had assured him that he would be stationed here until the end of his contract. However, the end of his contract was nearing, a reality that came with a complex set of emotions. Vincent's beloved wife Leah used to accompany him everywhere. That was until illness kept her confined with his mother while Vincent continued his travels. Tragedy struck when he least expected. Instead of the recovery everyone had been desperately hoping for, Leah passed away suddenly. The devastating memory of that day was permanently etched in Vincent's mind. He was rushing home from yet another trip, anxious about his mother's well-being, missing his family, and eager to play with his son and embrace his ailing wife. Leah was there, waiting for him, but her condition had severely deteriorated. Normally, she would greet him at the door with her enchanting smile and a soft, sweet scent. She would always wear something special for his homecoming. This time, the scene was starkly different. Vincent entered the house in silence, leaving his luggage on the floor and removing his jacket. The house lacked its usual vibrant energy, and the foreboding sense of inevitability weighed heavily on his heart. Summoning his courage, Vincent decided to confront the negative thoughts swirling in his mind. He stepped into the bedroom, finding Leah asleep. Vincent's heart ached as he took in the sight of his wife's peaceful face. He quietly settled down on the edge of the bed, watching her with the longing to curl up next to her and offer comfort through his embrace. Tentatively, he reached out to place his hand over hers. Feeling his touch, Leah slowly opened her eyes and gave him a weak smile. "Hey, sweetheart. How are you? I've missed you so much," Vincent whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Her smile lingered, gradually growing warmer. "I've missed you too, darling," she responded. But then, a flicker of fear passed over her features. "I was scared that I wouldn't make it until you returned." Her radiant smile returned, casting away the shadow of fear. "But you're here now." She drew a deep breath, her smile persisting. She looked at Vincent for a while, silent yet communicative. Then her eyes gently closed, and her once warm smile faded to a neutral expression. Vincent remained by Leah's side, believing that she had drifted back into a much-needed sleep. However, a sudden chill of apprehension washed over him. "Leah, sweetheart!" He gently shook her head, only to have it fall lifelessly onto the bed. A cry of horror escaped him. "Leah!" Panic surged through him. He frantically checked for a pulse, started CPR, and yelled his mother to call 911. In between desperate attempts to resuscitate her, he caressed Leah's cheek, pleading with her to wake up. The paramedics arrived, but their arrival only confirmed his worst fear. As they covered Leah's body and transferred her onto a gurney, Vincent felt a fog descend on his mind. His screams echoed in the background, unheard by his own ears. His mother held him back, preventing him from chasing after the gurney. "Vincent, please, it's over. She's gone. I'm sorry. You have to stay strong for Ryan," she implored. Ryan, blissfully unaware of the tragedy unfolding, was in another room, engrossed in his cartoons. His laughter, sparked by the cartoons, was the only positive aspect of the moment. Meanwhile, one of the most cherished people in his life had just slipped away from his world. Ryan, being just a little kid, remained oblivious to the event unfolding a few feet away from him. For years, until he grew up and truly understood the gravity of that day, he would believe that his mom had journeyed to a faraway land to fetch him the most beautiful flowers and toys. And so, they found themselves alone. A week after the funeral, Wendy broached the difficult subject with Vincent. "You need a change of scenery, son. This house carries too much weight for you right now. Don't worry about Ryan and me. We'll manage. He's a strong little man, helping out a lot. He'll start attending kindergarten, so I'll have plenty of time to cook and clean," she assured. Vincent didn't respond immediately to his mother's suggestion. He needed time to think. In the following days, he took Ryan out fishing. Dressing his son turned out to be a comedy of errors, as he struggled to find Ryan's jackets, hats, and socks. It was a humbling reminder of how much Leah had done around the house, something he hadn't fully appreciated until now. Once they finally embarked on their journey, Ryan started his barrage of questions. Some were simple, some absurd, and others quite challenging. Vincent had to put serious thought into his responses or resort to online searches. As they neared the lake, Ryan asked, "Dad, why don't fish drown?" Vincent chuckled at his son's inquiry. It was a question he had never pondered himself. He managed to craft a satisfactory response for Ryan, hoping it would put a pause to the questioning, but Ryan's curiosity remained